Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another rendition of Dudes Talk Sports. I'm your co host, EJ, and today we're going to have a little bit of a solo pod. My co host, CJ, could not unfortunately join us, had to get caught up with some work, but it's all good because we are planning on some more bangers coming up, some cool little videos that we're trying to put up later on this week. So won't be the last that you see of him. But today I thought I would take over as today we're gonna go over some more topics that I'm gonna just I'm gonna cut it to y'all straight. He's just not very informed and very knowledged on. And so as your overall well-rounded sports guru, I will be the one taking the lead of the ship today. And so without being said, I feel like there's quite a bit that's happened this weekend in terms of sports news. So I say we jump straight into this great content. Which, listen, y'all, if you guys were tuned into any sports, I know there was a lot of NBA. I know there was a lot, potentially NFL, a bit quieter, baseball, hockey, but you can't forget about the Masters, which we got to dive into this because it was such a roller coaster at Augusta National. This tournament was just pure drama, and at the center of all of it was Rory Mcilroy, who have finally, and I genuinely mean finally, grabbed the elusive green jacket and completed his career Grand Slam. But let me tell you guys, it was not a smooth ride. In fact, Rory came close to delivering what might have been the generational choke. And, Twitter was all over this. And I was honestly surprised because there was a moment there in which I genuinely thought, oh, he genuinely just threw this all away. So picture this. Rory's coming into Sunday with a two-shot lead, sitting at 12 under, looking like the guy we've all been waiting to see dominate Augusta. He's got Bryson DeChambeau breathing down his neck, but Rory's got the pedigree. 4 majors already, just needing this one to join legends like Nicklaus and Woods. But early on, though, it was a disaster. He double boogies the first hole. Yeah, double boogie, yeah. To kick things off. I know, right? Is it the nerves? Is it the pressure? Whatever it was, the vibes were definitely not there. And suddenly the Chambo's right there. But you got to give credit to Rory. He's a fighter. And he claws back with birdies on three and four. And then he stretches his lead to 4 shots by the turn. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, he's got this, you know? And I feel like that was the census there too. I was kind of watching this with some of my boys, and the real census was that everybody wanted Rory to win. And honestly, we thought it was gonna go that way, but with the way, like we were saying, he was kind of choking, everything was up in the air, and the patrons are buzzing, and the green jacket's honestly practically being measured for him at this point. But then the back nine hits, and it's like Rory's inner demons decided to throw a party. But holes 11 through 11 through 14, just absolute chaos. Boogie's 11, and then brace yourself. Dumps a wedge into Ray's Creek on 13 for a double boogie. A double. Yeah, the lead's gone. And just like that, Justin Rose, who's been grinding out a stellar 66, surges ahead, and Rory follows it up with another boogie on 14. And in just 3 holes, a 4 shot cushion evaporates, and I'm sitting there thinking, is this 2011 all over again? You remember that Masters? Rory was 21, led by 4, then collapsed with an 80. This felt like deja vu, the kind of choke that could have defined his career for another decade. Now, here's where it gets wild. Most players would have spiraled, but Rory, he digs deep, which on 15, he pulls off one of the shots of his life, a massive hook around trees, landing in 6 feet from the pin. He misses the eagle, but taps in for a birdie to retake the lead. Then on 17, another clutch iron to 3 feet for another birdie. The guy's battling himself as much as the course, and somehow he's back in front. But wait, because this is Rory, and nothing's ever easy. Because on 18, he's got the chance to seal it. He hits the fairway, but his approach finds a bunker. He chips to 5 feet, needing the par putt to win, and misses. My heart sank. We're going to a playoff with Justin Rose, who's just hold a 20-footer to force it, and I'm thinking, Rory, you cannot let this slip again. I mean, playoffs are rare, folks. I believe the last time this happened was around like 2018. So it's not something that happens every day, and it's one of those shots that honestly Rory could have handed it to anybody in the crowd, and they probably would have made it. But when the stakes are high, what can you expect? Things that are deemed so simple and easy become the most intricate and most difficult task in the world. And let's go back to the playoffs. The playoffs on 18. And this is where Rory flips the script. Both he and Rose hit great drives, but Rory's wedge is pure magic. 4 feet from the cup. Rose's putt slides by, and Rory, with the weight of 11 years since his last major, drains the birdie putt. He drops to his knees, tears flowing, and Augusta erupts. It's his fifth major, his first Masters, and he's the sixth guy ever to complete the Grand Slam. And like just to put to preface how rare it was, I believe Tiger Woods was the last person to ever hit the Grand Slam. So he's now on a very elite list of very elite golfers, man. Some of the best to ever do it. This is one of those things that you don't just brush over lightly. This is something that, is legacy defining. And in the case of Rory McIlroy, this is something that's going to further cement him as one of the greats in history. And now let's talk about the choke that almost was. Because Rory had this tournament in his hands, fumbled it, and stared down the type of collapse that could have haunted him forever. Four doubles in 1 week. Nobody wins the Masters like that, right? Well, you're wrong because in this case he did. And that's kind of what makes this really epic. Because Rory didn't just beat Rose or the field, he beat his own headspace. The Augusta Ghost, all the way back from 2011, and the narrative that he couldn't close. This wasn't just a win for him, rather, it was a redemption arc for the ages. Elsewhere, Rose was brilliant, carding a 66 but settling for second. Patrick Reed snagged third at 9 under. Scotty Scheffler took fourth, and DeChambeau faded to a tie for fifth after a 75. But if we're going to be real, this was Rory's story. From nearly choking away a legacy to etching his name in history, it's the kind of drama only the Masters can deliver. But what do you guys think? Can Rory ride this momentum to more majors? How much more majors do you guys think he has under his belt? And let us know your comments. Honestly, I personally, as much as I'm new into the scene and whatnot, this whole back and forth and the generational choke honestly made this game all the more enjoying. Because in our group, it was kind of funny because we had, one setup watching all the NBA games that were going on that day, and we had the Masters on. And then throughout the week, I was kind of keeping up with it. At the gym I go to, they were showing the Masters, so I kind of had an idea how things were going. But this was the day that everything was on the line, and you know, for a lot of notions that golf is very boring, I'm understanding of that. I understand where people are coming from that, but if you didn't watch his Masters, it was honestly entertainment. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't really tune into golf as much, somebody who doesn't necessarily live and breathe golf. But I found it very entertaining, and this is honestly for me like the start of trying to like segue and be more up to date with golf and just sort of camaraderie and the vibes that go on with that sport because it's very different. It's a different type of sport, but I honestly love it from the little banter and the little drama that goes on. I personally am here for it. But what do you guys think? Do y'all think that Rory should have won it? Y'all thinking maybe somebody else like Rose had that in the bag? But let us know your guys' thoughts. And from there, we shall pivot over to kind of what I was saying, NBA news, which this is going to hurt me a lot